you doing, good people? This is the 8-Bit Animal. And once upon a time, we didn't have shoot 'em ups. Once upon a time, the only genre video game that was available for us to play were sports games or whatever. Like back in the 1950s, one of the first video games ever made, as we know it, was a tennis game that was made on like an oscilloscope, like an old radar screen or whatever. It was on one of those. It's called Table Tennis for Two. And then we got another notable tennis game. It was the prototype for Ralph Baer's Brown Box. Then Nolan Bushnell gave us Pong. Pong basically gave the world Pong in Space War is what it was called, not computer space. Space War. They gave us what we know as Atari. But Space War also gave us something else. The very first shoot 'em up. Fast forward some years, you get other shoot 'em ups. You get Asteroids, you get Space Invaders, eventually you get Galaga and Galaxian and Bosconian, Xevious, all these different changes and innovations in the shmup genre. Then in 1985, Nichibutsu releases Today's Game. Today's Game is actually the sequel to a 1980 release from Nichibutsu. A game solely developed by a man named Shigeki Fujiwara by the name of Moon Cresta. Moon Cresta was essentially a Space Invader clone with a really interesting little quirk. After a couple of levels, you had to dock your ship into another piece of a ship. Go a few more levels, dock your ship into the next piece of the ship until you get this huge, all-encompassing, all-powerful weapon. It lasts for a little bit, then the cycle repeats. Today's Game takes that mechanic and expands it into a scrolling, more modern take on the shmup genre. This game was originally released in 1985, like I said before, and the NES port was published by Vic Tokai. Today, we're going to take a quick look at Terra Cresta. Alright, now, Terra Cresta, you have that ship, right? You start out in the little ship, and you're flying along, and you'll see the little things on the ground that have a number next to them. You shoot those, a door opens up, second piece of the ship flies up. You collect that, keep going, and you're fighting enemies. There are dinosaurs on the ground shooting at you in level 1. You blow them up, they turn into skeletons on the ground. So you mess around and kill Littlefoot from Land Before Time before the first level over, right? You keep collecting pieces to your ship. Your ship gets bigger and more powerful. You get a tail gun. You get all these different little extra weapon power-ups until eventually you collect all the pieces to your ship and it turns into a phoenix, a whole Firebird out here. Firebird is a devastating thing and is virtually invincible for about 30 to 45 seconds until you come out of that mode. You still have all the power-ups, you're just not invincible anymore. Kind of like the Heavy Barrel in Heavy Barrel. And yeah, Terra Cresta is a hell of a video game. The home ports of Terra Cresta, particularly Famicom and NES, because those are the two I know about, have a ship design feature. So you can kind of structure how your ship, how things unfold with your ship. And it's really cool. Everything about this game is really, really cool. I know we talk about Gradius and Life Force a lot, but we had some stuff on the NES as far as shmups are concerned. We had Gunnak, we had Image Fight, Zanuck, Terra Cresta, 1943. We had a lot of really good shmups on this console. To the extent that we were kind of spoiled. And we ended up missing some stuff. But we got a whole lot of good stuff. And Terra Cresta got a bunch of sequels. I mean, Terra Cresta even got a sequel in 2022, Soul Cresta. Now, Soul Cresta's gotten mixed reviews, but Soul Cresta, from what I've heard, by and large, after like a firmware patch or whatever and some house cleaning, Soul Cresta's actually pretty good too. A great follow-up to that legacy. But we're not talking about that now. We're talking about Terra Cresta, what we got today. And it's not really hard to get a copy of Terra Cresta, but it suffers from a lot of what happens with a lot of the really good older shmups, especially on the NES. Because if you decide you want to get yourself a copy of Terra Cresta, baby, it's going to be about $45 to $50. If you want a complete copy, that's about $200, something like that, maybe $300, depending on who's selling it, how beat up the box is, how beat up that manual is, that kind of thing. But yeah, man, Terra Cresta is a fantastic shoot 'em up. Shout out to Shigeki Fujiwara for laying the groundwork for this. Shout out to Nichibutsu for publishing it. And salute to Toaplan for continuing that legacy that eventually got picked up in the late 2010s by Tatsujin. And yeah, if you can figure out a way to play this, absolutely go play it, because Terra Cresta is a fantastic piece of video game, you know? But this has been the 8-Bit Animal, and I'll catch you beautiful people tomorrow. Tomorrow. Nah, you don't need a whole lot, baby. Just look for them bare necessities.